Hi guys, and welcome to the Hearts vs Sunderland match review. So Sunderland have just won their first proper game of pre-season against Hearts away from home by 2-0, and which was a pretty uplifting display, if I'm honest, particularly in the first half. We'll get into the lineup. So we had Patterson in goal, which was good to see. We knew that was going to happen because Lee Johnson did mention yesterday in his pre-match interview for the game, that he said that he was going to give Pato a go in goal. So the four across the back, we had Tyrese Dice, the young lad who we did bring in from West Brom, at left back. We had also Callum Doyle and Flanagan as the centre back partnership. Right back we had Winchester. So it was a bit of a makeshift back four, but either way, that's the way we like to do it at Sunderland, isn't it? Now in the middle we had Embleton and Dhannoo. Then on the right hand side we had Gooch. On the left we had McGeady. Then up top we had O'Brien and Ross Stewart. Now getting into the game straight away, and I was absolutely buzzing with the way in which we started. You know, our high press was absolutely fantastic. We're right in the faces. They were constantly giving the ball away because we were getting right at them. And the sort of link-up play as well between Dhannoo and Embleton for me was so good to see. It made me feel so enthusiastic going forward because we hadn't seen central midfielders that had linked up like that, or at least broke forward, because we were so used to the likes of, Max Power and Scowen that were just so unbelievably, dour and backwards, or just pumping balls out wide, and half the time it goes out for a throw-in. Do you know what I mean? That's all we're seeing. Where Dhannoo and Embleton, they were trying these quick sort of like 1-2s and trying to break forward. It didn't always come off, but they were going for it. Dhannoo had a shot from distance, as did Embleton, which both went high and wide. But we're really testing them. Then eventually a ball goes over the top for Ross Stewart, who, by the way, was making some brilliant movement off the ball. Sometimes I felt a bit harsh on him because we just didn't quite have the eye, that sort of vision to see these little runs he was making off the ball. It was the kind of runs that you kind of screamed for Wyke to make, but obviously he just didn't really move too much. But I'm not being sour, of course. But he was constantly making these runs off the ball, but he weren't being found. But eventually he was found. Ball over the top, and he managed to just nick there before the keeper did. But Ross Stewart, their goalkeeper, who's also called Ross Stewart, took out our Ross Stewart, which of course gave us a penalty. The McGeady stepped up, who was getting booed from the little crowd that was at Hearts on the day, and he's put the penalty away, of course, bottom right-hand corner, 1-0 to us, and we seem to be flying at that point. We're controlling the game. Callum Doyle, for me, and this was a big point I was going to get to, 17 years old. We said in yesterday's video that, it could be a bit of a risk. And I'll tell you what, he bailed out Flanagan a good 4 or 5 times, as well as Dice as well. I feel like there was just a good 2 or 3 times where Flanagan misjudged the ball, or he completely missed the ball, or he was taken on far too easily. But he was so good, Callum Doyle, reading the game. It was like he already knew that Flanagan was going to make a mistake, so he'd come in behind him and cover up, or he'd hit the attacker, get the ball first and get it away. But he wouldn't just randomly hoof it. He would play the ball out wide, and it would be an inch perfect pass, and he was doing it time and time again. Now it's probably a little bit harsh on Dice, because Dice at left back originally, starting off the game, he looked really good. For a 19-20-year-old, he's an absolute brick shit house as well, by the way. He was winning balls in the air, winning hard hitting challenges. He was getting forward a little bit, but then I feel like after the sort of 15-20 minute mark, where the game did die down, or it started to tilt a little bit into Hearts' favour, where they started to push forward, because we started off, like I say, we were definitely first out in terms of attacking for the first sort of 15-20 minutes, but then it happens, games do shift, and it started to shift into Hearts' favour. And there were so many times where I felt like Dice was just getting a bit too sucked into the game a little bit more. Like, instead of sticking it into his position, he was getting it all completely wrong by getting sucked into the middle. He was just kind of drifting off into this almost a centre-back position, giving them absolutely acres of space in behind on their right-hand side. And they were finding him time and time again. He was getting caught out of position. And then there was plenty of times where they would get in behind and they would drill it across goal, and there was Callum Doyle to get it away, or occasionally Flanagan. And there was plenty, and I mean plenty, of scrambles in our box where it could have easily hit the back of the net, but fortunately for us, it just didn't fall well for Hearts, or there'd be a last-ditch challenge by the likes of Callum Doyle. So the game kept going, of course, and we managed to get back into it after weathering a bit of a storm. Like I say, I think midfield we looked really good. The front three, or front four really, I mean, O'Brien for me, I can't buy into the lad at all. He's a nuisance, don't get me wrong, but there's a chance for him as well, where he nicked in, and He was one-on-one with the defender. It kind of took him on, but someone mentioned it on Twitter. Someone tweeted about it, and I think it's so accurate. Basically, the longer O'Brien has on the ball, the worse of a player he gets, because he starts to sort of panic and he looks like he's about to fall over. He doesn't know what to do. The ball's getting away from him, and that's what happens. Instinctively, every now and then he'll pop up with a header or a tap him first time, because instinctively he's a good player in that sense. But if he has to think too much on the ball, you can see he looks so uncomfortable as a football player. He's almost like falling all over the place, doesn't know what to do. But anyway, heading back to that original chance, it was one-on-one with the defender. He managed to put the defender on his arse, basically, and then he's managed to swipe at the ball, and the keeper's made a very good save. But then just before half-time, Aidan McGeady scores to make it 2-0, but the build-up to that was brilliant. Lyndon Gooch, absolutely phenomenal. It always looks good when it comes off for Gooch, but there's just so many times where it doesn't. But Gooch, he spins his man brilliant on the right-hand side, cuts in from right to left, cuts in again, taking on another man, lays it off inch perfectly off McGeady, who hits it first time with the left foot into the bottom left-hand corner, beats the keeper. 2-0 at half-time, and I think we've looked very, very good at this point. Like I say, there's been some shaky defending at times that Doyle has had to absolutely, bail a few players out or a couple of players out. I think Winchester actually wasn't half bad at right back. You think he was actually all right. But in the second half, this is where I feel like it did become very much a sort of testimonial pace type game. Hearts put on a load of subs, because at first they actually had a very strong lineup. They had the likes, Boyce up top, who I'm absolutely fed up of seeing. I thought I'd never have to see him again. And if anything, 17-year-old Doyle had him in his back pocket, which was great to see. But yeah, like I say, loads of changes were getting made. We brought on Diamond, and I felt like the tempo of the game just dropped considerably, and it was very sort of, they come forward, lose the ball, we go forward, lose the ball. And it was kind of that for a large part of the second half. And we started to bring on other subs. Evans had come on, he looked relatively tidy. We also brought on Richardson, Ellis Taylor come on. We had Grigg come on as well for the final few moments, where we were basically just punting balls over the top for him to chase. It was kind of same old for Grigg, really. But yeah, the second half, it was very dead for me. They had one chance where it was their first real chance of the game in terms of a clear-cut chance anyway, where it drops them and then to the box. They've hit it. It's beat Patterson, but it's hit the post, and we managed to get it away. But yeah, so it did finish eventually 2-0. There was actually a chance quite late on where Gooch nicked it off him down the left-hand side, and all he had to do was play Ellis Taylor through. Would have been one-on-one with the keeper, or he could have gone for Grigg. Both of them would have been one-on-one with the keeper, but Gooch, in typical Gooch fashion, takes far too long on the ball, waits an absolute eternity, and he loses the ball, so the chance is gone. So that's what I mean with Gooch. You get 1 minute, it was a moment of magic in the first half. In the second, he's irritating as hell. Although, in fairness, he had to play left back in the second half. He played left back as Diamond come on for the second. So, like I say, it was a very sort of mix-matched team and just line-up and formation and system in the second half, and that you could tell that was the case, because it was nowhere near as fluid or as clean as the first. But all in all, 2-0 against a very, very solid Hearts side. So I'm very, very pleased with that, and very surprised. I say surprised. I did get excited in the Callum Doyle signing video yesterday, but I didn't expect him to be that good. He was absolutely brilliant. So that's off to him. I'm not going to get carried away, but this man, he looks really good. He looks really good at the moment. So yeah, so that's it. It's a really nice win. Good to get these kids some game time as well. I say kids in terms of Doyle, but Doyle led the line brilliantly from the back anyway. But yeah, keep on bigging him up, don't I? I'm going to big him up too much, and it's all going to go to shit in it. But he looked very good. It was very promising. And it was good to see some of the youngsters as well. I think, like I say, Dice, I don't think I was too harsh on him, because he did look promising. He did have some good moments. He hard-hitting challenges, winning balls in the air, but just positionally, he looked very, very shaky at times. Well, like I say, Doyle had to bail him out. Same with Flanagan. But either way, it was a good game. I think Dan Neil, for me, was absolutely excellent. Embleton, at times, he linked up really well with him. But Dan Neil, sometimes when the game started to go a bit flat, out of nowhere, just quickly flick it past their central midfielder, and then you break at them, and then that's when he's asking questions, and we never see that. We haven't seen that for the last couple of years with Power and Scowen in the middle, or Ledbetter. Well, obviously Ledbetter, he's a holding midfielder, but you expect the likes of Power or Scowen to break forward, and they never did. Whereas every now and then, like I say, it feels like the game is dying down a bit, and Dan Neil would just nick it off a defender, or he'd take it off our defender and then just break forward, take on their centre mid, and then just asking questions of their back line and breaking at them, which gives the opportunity for whoever's up top for us to make movement off the ball, whereas beforehand we'd hold it and it was always sideways, and it's very, very easy to play against. But if you have that unpredictability, you'll be able to just quickly break forward whenever you get the opportunity, like Daniel had done, then you give yourself a completely different outlet in terms of a playing style as well, not just creating chances. So for me, Daniel was absolutely phenomenal today. I really, really like Daniel, and I hope he gets a good chunk of games this season because he absolutely deserves it, and I really, really like the lad. But yeah, 2-0, good run out. I'm not going to get too ahead of myself, but yeah, it was a really, really good outing for the lads, and I think we've taken Harrogate next, which should be a nice little test as well for us. But what did you guys think of the game? Let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sassy Army. But for now, you take care, stay jam.